All right, here we go. Part two. Let's continue to go on this. So write down what you want, read your goals, reread your goals, adjust them, and ultimately start moving for the life that you want. So here is from the successprinciples.com/resources. You can print off this little manual, like a workbook, and it has the different topics that you could start writing some of your goals down. And so I'm reading my goals every single day. And so someone might say, well, I don't want to read my goals every single day. It seems a little bit obnoxious, seems a little bit tedious. Then you probably don't really want those as goals. And you might not really want them then. Because if it's something that you don't really want, then why are you even thinking about that you want it, right? So excuse me, it talks about, gives you some homework on what to read. So this is meant to be like broken up into like 6 different sessions. So we're going to just keep going through this just to kind of give you an introduction. So then if you want to go read the book, I would highly encourage you. Don't have the money, go to your local library. Don't have a library close by, go online, access it. Just write Success Principles PDF. There's an actual like 79-page document that just breaks down that book into kind of the main highlights. But then again, go to the successprinciples.com/resources and you can see a lot of the fun stuff there. So the next one is to unleash the power of goal setting and release the brakes. So first is to know what you ultimately want when it comes to the goals. And then the next step is to then make sure that here's the guidelines of the setting of the goals, okay? Is number 1, start with the words I am. Use it in present tense. Number 2, state it in the positive. Affirm what you want, not what you don't. So, in other words, don't say debt free. I am debt free, because then that's a negative. You want to say I have $80,000 in the bank, or whatever that number is. Keep it brief. Make it simple. Right? You don't want to be too long-winded. Include an action word ending in ing. I'm driving my 2018 Honda Accord. Include at least one dynamic emotion or feeling word. Make affirmations for yourself, not others, and add words or something better. So let's give you an idea of this affirmation. It could be something like this. I am driving my new Porsche Carrera down State Street. So you can see that in your own mind's eye. Here's me driving it. Here's me behind the wheel. And probably the biggest one that I find for most people, if they do have goals that they've written down, is their negative. So just look at putting the positive spin on it, what you ultimately want. So a lot of times when people are like, I want to be debt free, they pay off debt, but then all of a sudden they're back into debt. Or they don't understand really because they have a mortgage and they're like, no, I like my house. I'm not planning on paying off my house earlier. It's a good tax write-off. Okay, well then you don't want to be debt-free, right? Because unless you're just saying that you're going to pay that house off. So release the brakes. He says use the power of visualization. So this one is extremely helpful, but yet I think for a lot of people, they don't find it helpful because they don't actually do it. So, it's as simple as going to a local dealership, getting a photo of you, either go test drive the car, get a video of that, or take a photo of you inside the car and then post it up on a wall to be able to visualize where you want to be. If you want a specific house, drive around your community, find the house that you want, take a photo, take it farther away so people don't find it creepy, and post that up somewhere. The more that you can have these reminders, these visual cues, the more it's going to stay in the forefront of your mind, and you're going to start deliberately building what you want in your life instead of letting it just roll by you. It also, I'd say from an affirmation perspective, it helps to say it out loud. So when I'm driving my car, I can do what I want. I can sing, I can dance, I can talk to myself. It's a great way to be able to really get things out there. So your affirmation that you're familiar with, I want to have $80,000 in my savings account. You can say that. You can visualize that. And you can do that in the privacy of your own vehicle. So just release those breaks. You can create a vision board with those different videos that you've created, and take action. That's how you release the break in this situation. The other thing that I know Jack talks about in the video, The Secret, is he actually wrote a check, and it actually comes from the most well-known one that I know of is Jim Carrey wrote a book for him when he was doing stand-up in different bars, I think in Canada, and he wrote a check for himself, dated it out 10 years in advance for $10 million. He got Ace Ventura, he had The Mask in those 10 years, and so was able to achieve that goal. And so you could write a check to yourself. So then Jack Canfield heard about this idea of writing yourself a check, and so he wrote a check. I think at the time he said the most amount of money he had made at that point was $18,000 in a year. And so he wrote a check, and for him, $100,000 would have been a ton of money. So he put it on his ceiling, and so when he'd wake up in the morning, he'd look at that check and he'd think, okay, what do I got to do? Obviously, these were not vaulted ceilings because he could read it, or he has phenomenal eagle eyesight. And then at night, before he'd go to bed, he would look at that check and he would think, okay, what's that lifestyle look like? What's that feel like? And then what he ended up doing, he says, well, he was taking a shower one day, and he's like, oh man, to get to that 100,000, what if I were to sell that one book $4 a pop, and I sold 25,000 copies? That'd make $100,000. So then, fast forward, he's at some conference and he meets someone that, he's checking out of the store, and he sees the National Enquirer, and he's like, oh, that'd be cool if my